The strangest part about meeting Alex was realizing that sometimes the person who makes you feel safest can also be the person carrying the biggest secret. For months, I thought I knew him. Not everything, of course. Nobody truly knows someone they meet online. At least that's what people say. But there's something strange about talking to someone when you can't see their face, when there are no distractions, no appearances, no awkward pauses across a table, just a voice, just conversations in the dark. Sometimes you tell a stranger things you wouldn't tell anyone standing right in front of you. That's what happened with Alex. And that's what scared me the most, because he wasn't supposed to become important. He was just supposed to be another player. I met him on a random Tuesday night. I remember because I almost didn't log in. Work had been exhausting. It was raining outside. My apartment was cold because the heating wasn't working properly again. All I wanted was to make tea, play for maybe an hour, and forget about real life for a while. Gaming had always been my escape. Some people watched movies. Some people went out. I put on headphones and disappeared into another world. That night, my team was terrible. The kind of terrible where you start questioning every life choice that brought you into the match. Then someone joined voice chat. A calm male voice said, "Okay, I'm guessing there was no plan before I got here." I laughed before I could stop myself. No, the plan was apparently chaos. Interesting strategy. Not a successful one. Clearly, that was Alex. I didn't know his age, his story, his face, nothing, just his voice. And somehow within 10 minutes, it felt like I had known him forever. We won that match. Then another. Then another. At midnight I said, I should probably sleep. Probably, he said. Neither of us disconnected. A few seconds passed. Then he laughed. We're both just sitting here waiting for the other person to leave, aren't we? I smiled. Maybe. That became our thing. Not wanting to say goodbye. At first, we only played together. Then, slowly, the game became background noise. We talked more than we played. About music, movies, childhood memories. little things that don't seem important but somehow tell you everything about a person. I learned he hated mornings. He learned I always forgot my coffee until it got cold. I learned he tapped his desk when he was thinking. He learned I played games when I couldn't sleep. Some nights we stayed online until 3 a.m. Not because we had anything important to say, just because silence with him felt comfortable. That was new for me. Most people made me feel like I had to explain myself. Alex didn't. One night, after we lost 5 games in a row, I apologized. I'm sorry. I'm terrible tonight. He sounded confused. Why are you apologizing? Because I ruined the game. It's just a game. People get mad. I'm not people. I don't know why that sentence stayed with me, but it did. Because I believed him. Weeks passed, then 2 months, and somewhere between laughing at midnight and telling him about my worst days, I started waiting for him. I would get home and check if he was online. I would see something funny during the day and think, I need to tell Alex. That's when I realized I was falling for someone whose face I had never seen, and that terrified me, because 5 years earlier I stopped trusting strangers. I didn't tell Alex why, not the full story. I only told him something happened, something that changed me. He never pushed. That's what made me trust him more. One night, when the game servers crashed, we stayed in voice chat anyway. The room was dark. Rain tapped against my window, and Alex suddenly asked, do you ever think about meeting? I froze. In person? No, I meant inside the game. Obviously in person. I laughed, but my heart was racing. You wanna meet me? Yeah. Why? There was a pause. Then his voice became softer. Because I think I've wanted to meet you since the first night. I smiled, even though he couldn't see it. I said yes. We chose a small cafe downtown. Public, simple, safe. I arrived 20 minutes early because apparently being nervous makes me forget how time works. I kept checking the door, wondering if I would recognize him, which was ridiculous. someone walked in. Dark jacket, slightly messy hair, looking around like he was searching for someone. My phone buzzed. Alex, I think I see you. I looked up. He smiled, and somehow I knew. The first thing he said was, "You're real." I laughed. "That's your opening line." I panicked. Clearly. And just like that, the awkwardness disappeared because it was still him. The same humor, the same voice, the same person who stayed awake with me all those nights. The cafe smelled like coffee and cinnamon. Soft music played in the background. People moved around us, but I barely noticed. We talked for hours. Again, just like always. Except this time I could see his expressions. The way he looked down when he laughed. The way he listened. The way his eyes softened when I spoke. Everything felt easy. Too easy. Then his phone rang. He reached into his jacket pocket to silence it, and something fell onto the floor. A small leather case. I picked it up before thinking, "Hey, you dropped." Then I stopped because I saw what was inside. A badge. Police. For a moment, neither of us moved. The entire cafe seemed quieter. "You're a cop." Alex looked at the badge, then at me, and I saw something I had never seen before. Fear. Not of me. Of this moment. Yes. I tried to smile. "Why didn't you tell me?" I was going to. When? He didn't answer. That's when I noticed something else had fallen. A photograph. Old. Worn around the edges. I picked it up, and the world stopped. Because I knew that face. Not Alex. The man beside him. I knew him. 5 years disappeared instantly. The parking lot. The cold air. My shaking hands. The fear. I remembered everything. A man following me. one told me that, but some memories don't care what people tell you. I looked at Alex. My voice barely worked. Who is he? He closed his eyes, and I already knew. My brother. The words hit harder than I expected. I stood up slowly. No. Please, let me explain. You knew. Silence. That silence answered everything. You knew who I was. Yes. Before the game. Another pause. Yes. I stepped back. All those nights. All those conversations. Everything. You found me on purpose. He looked down. Yes. Why? The answer came quietly. Because I hated you. My chest tightened. I needed to know who you were. I needed to understand how someone like you could just keep living after he was gone. I couldn't speak. Then he looked at me. But then I met you. I shook my head. Don't. I heard your voice. I heard you blame yourself for things that weren't your fault. Stop. I learned who you were. The cafe around us disappeared. It was just him and me, and a past neither of us could escape. I know what happened, he whispered. My eyes filled with tears. I know what he did. Those words broke something inside me. Because for 5 years, I wondered if his family hated me, if they imagined me as a monster. And Alex had, until he didn't. I grabbed my bag. He didn't move, didn't reach for me, didn't ask me to stay. Maybe because he knew he had no right. I walked toward the door. Every step felt impossible. Before leaving, I looked back. Alex was still sitting there. The badge on the table. The photo beside it. 2 different parts of his life that somehow led him to me. And the way he looked at me. It wasn't like a police officer. It wasn't like someone who came searching for answers. It was like a man who found something he never expected and didn't know if he deserved to keep it. I opened the door. Cold air touched my face. For a second, I thought he might call my name. He didn't. He let me choose. Just like he should have from the beginning. The door closed behind me. I